Hey folks, this is Clay Dennis with Southern Hearth and Patio. Today I'm going to talk to you about vent-free versus vented gas logs. The truth about vent-free gas logs is that they're not actually gas logs at all. They're actually vent-free heaters. They're identical to the wall heaters that we had back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. 10 years ago, most people would come in and ask, how many BTUs do I need to heat a specific space? However, since then, most people are buying non-vented for how big the fire is, how many embers can I get, how can I make it look as close to vented as possible. The problem is we're putting 40,000 BTUs into a room that needs 10,000 BTUs. So one of the things that I try to educate my customers on is the ability to stay with the BTUs by cubic foot ratio that we started with many years ago. Now, doing this does not allow for me to offer the prettiest gas logs in the business as far as vent-free is concerned, but what it does do is it allows my customers to heat a little more fluidly, a little more comfortably, they enjoy the gas logs a little bit longer without being run out of the room. One of the things about non-vented that you've got to understand is that it doesn't just burn oxygen from the room. In fact, it's never going to burn all of the oxygen. That's the thing that scares people, but the truth is it doesn't happen. What it does do is it draws in air. All fire needs air, and it's going to be drawing in the cat hair, the dog hair, the Lysol, pledge, carpet fibers, and those types of things. And when you do that, it can cause some additional aldehydes or additional odors that you need to be concerned with. As a visual, what I'm going to do is create just a little bit of dust here. And if you will, watch the blue flame. People don't believe this when they see it. By creating dust, you can see that the fire is attracting that dust and is actually burning that. That's one of the reasons that I suggest that people that have any allergies or upper respiratory concerns stay away from non-vented. Most of the people in this region think that I'm anti-non-vented. That's not the truth at all. What I'm really trying to do is make sure that people understand that vent-free is not the answer for everybody. It's just one of a few options that you have. The other thing that you're going to have to realize is that non-vented heat convectively. That's not a bad thing. It's just one of the three types of heat transfers: conductive, convective, and radiant. Conductive being, of course, touching something that's hot that you don't want to touch. That's conductive heat transfer. And then convective heat transfer is actually hot air. So if you take your non-vented, or if you go see a non-vented, you can put your hand right here and you can feel all the heat right here. That hot air feels great when you're cold, but it can fill that room up pretty fast and make it a little uncomfortable. That's why you'll see most people say, well, I run it 10 or 12 minutes and the room's pretty hot. Now, that can be beneficial if you're saying, you know what, I don't really care about looking at the flame for a long period of time. I really just I needed to heat that room. I want to turn it up, get it hot, and move on. That's what non-vented was originally designed for. Now, doing this can actually be really beneficial if you're trying to heat a room relatively quickly. If you're not really interested in sitting around by the fire, you can actually turn them on, heat the room quickly, and move on. That's what non-vented was designed to do, and it does a good job at it. The biggest reason for the popularity of non-vented isn't the heat at all. It's the fact that they're cheap. By comparison to many other types of fireplaces, they are indeed cheap. It's just a box and some logs, and that's fine. It does what it does. The problem is that it doesn't fit the needs of most consumers. It's important now that you have the internet, you can actually download and read owner's manuals rather than just take salespeople's word for things. So before you buy a non-vented, take your owner's manual, find the owner's manual, the log that you want online, and download it. Take the time to read it, and I think you're going to find some interesting things. Most of them say not to use a ceiling fan that could possibly blow on the logs. It actually causes higher CO levels and soot if it causes the flame to bounce around the gas logs. It says repeatedly that you should never sleep in a room where a vent-free appliance is being operated. This is not my opinion, I assure you. This is something that's actually is in every owner's manual, every single owner's manual, and is required. The other problem here is never burn candles or have plug-ins. These things actually cause paraffins to be released in the room, and paraffins are fine until you burn them. When you burn them, they are literally carcinogenic. Okay, so we want to avoid those as we can. Recently, there have been a lot of statements from organizations like the American Heart Association, the American Lung Association, and these guys are kind of coming out saying, you know, maybe the vent-free thing is not for everybody. They're not saying they're dangerous. They're not saying they're killing people. It's just kind of, let's take our time. Let's look and see if this is right for you. And if you're really wanting something to heat quickly, vent freeze, that's for you. If it's something that you want to sit down and relax or try to heat an openly large space, you need to be maybe looking at a direct vent type fireplace.